Rumination, the danger of dwelling. Let's talk about rumination. I'm Coach Andrew. I'm a strength coach, entrepreneur, and family man. This is my channel. If you've never been here before, I would encourage you to subscribe. We talk about important things that need to be talked about. Things that are going to help you improve your life, make your life more meaningful, and in turn, make the world a better place and make the world more meaningful. Because we have an epidemic of people who don't have fulfillment in their life. They don't feel purpose. They're lacking motivation. They're out of shape. They have poor mentalities, and we're here to fix that. So if that interests you, please consider subscribing. The best thing you can do is share this video around with people who you think might need it. But we're going to dive into this 7-year-old article, it's still relevant though, and talk about rumination and how it can destroy your life from the inside out. So this comes to us from the BBC. It's by Denise Winterman, and let's dive into it. The UK's biggest ever online test into stress, undertaken by the BBC's Lab UK and the University of Liverpool, has revealed that rumination is the biggest predictor of the most common mental health problems in the country. Big surprise. We think too much and we feel too little. A bit of self-reflection can be a good thing, say psychologists. But just how serious can it get when introspection goes awry and thoughts get stuck on repeat, playing over and over in the mind? How many of you have experienced that? Every day, right? Every day. So many of us get stuck on negative thoughts. And we somehow have come to a place where we believe that if we think about it long enough, we'll find the answer. That if we think about a problem long enough, the answer will just magically appear in real life and take care of it. And that's not how it works. It is so hard getting your brain to change the way you think about that. But the first step is realizing you're doing it. Rumination and self-blame have long been accepted by health professionals as part of the problems that can lead to depression and anxiety, the two most common and most destructive mental health problems in the UK and the United States, according to the Mental Health Foundation. But new research has demonstrated just how significant and serious their impact on mental health can be. The findings of a groundbreaking study published in the journal PLOS One today suggest that brooding too much on negative events is the biggest predictor of depression and anxiety and determines the level of stress people experience. Absolutely. Absolutely. The research even suggests a person's psychological response is a more important factor than what has actually happened to them. Of course it is. The Stoics knew this 3,000 years ago. People have been talking about this. Read about Taoism, ancient China. People knew this thousands of years ago. This is a fact, and most people are so out of touch with it, right? I had to pull this up right now because I couldn't remember it word for word. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers of all time, he said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Recognize what he's saying there. Nothing in life hurts you. It's the way you interpret it. That's what hurts you, right? When someone says something mean to you, that didn't hurt you. It did nothing. It was just a noise. Your brain interpreted it as words. Your brain gave it meaning, and then your brain gave emotions to those meanings. That's where the hurt comes from. That's where the pain comes from. It's the same with the past, right? The past is gone. It's never coming back. Things that happened to you in the past might as well have never happened. And if someone hit you hard enough in the right spot on your brain and you got amnesia, you would be able to live your life exactly like the past never happened. You would forget all of the bad things that happened to you. Obviously, amnesia comes with all kinds of problems of its own, but you get my point, right? It's almost like the past never happened, right? There might be video recordings of it, and someone might have written about it, or you might have a very strong memory about it, but all of those things require mental stories. You have to have some kind of mental, emotional map to understand what those things mean. And if you replay past events and you replay those emotions and those feelings, they're gonna create very strong pathways in your brain that are gonna stay there forever. Learning how to let go of the things that you think are real because of the way you interpret things that have happened to you and have happened in the world is very difficult. You have to restructure the entire way you think. I don't want to get too far off track. Let's get back to our article here. A total of 32,827 people from 172 countries took part in the online stress test devised by the BBC's Lab UK and psychologists at the University of Liverpool, making it the biggest study of its kind ever undertaken in the United Kingdom. We found that people who didn't ruminate or blame themselves for their difficulties had much lower levels of depression and anxiety. Imagine that. Even if they'd experienced many negative events in their lives. And we all know those people. We all know those people who are always smiling, who are always happy, who always have good energy. It's because they know what to focus on. They think about the things that empower them. They think about things that make them happy. They think about the future that they want to have and the person that they want to be and how it feels to have those things and how to be that person. They don't think about how it feels to be the loser you were a year ago because they already know how that feels. It didn't serve them a year ago. It's not going to serve them now. That's what they do. It's all up here. Your mind will be your greatest enemy until you make it your strongest ally. That is rule number 1 of my 10 principles for self-development. And it's rule number 1 for a reason. You have to watch your thoughts. Dwelling on negative thoughts and self-blame have previously been recognized as important when it comes to mental health, but not to the extent that this study has shown. These findings suggest both are crucial psychological pathways to depression and anxiety. Absolutely. The human mind is an extremely complex machine, and it's generally accepted there is no single cause for depression and anxiety by professionals in the field, but some factors have more impact than others. And I like the nuance in this article because a lot of people treat depression and anxiety as if it is purely a neurological condition, right? Oh, you don't have as many receptors in your brain. Oh, your neurotransmitters don't work quite as well. Oh, your brain is this way, right? It's genetic. A lot of people treat it like that, like it's this one thing, right? And that's why I'm not the biggest fan of psychiatry. I have used psychiatrists in the past. I think they have a place, but right now they kind of have a monopoly over mental illness, and we need to start changing the way we look at these things and be more holistic, because a lot of the things that contribute to these conditions and these illnesses can be controlled by you. Your thoughts, you can change your thoughts. You can train yourself to do this. You don't need medication. You don't need to restructure your brain. You don't need gene editing therapy or anything crazy like that. You just need to meditate. You need to breathe. You need to slow down. Clear your mind. Whenever you have a negative thought, identify it, breathe, and just say, it doesn't serve me. I'm going to let it go. What can I think about instead that's going to move me closer to my goals? And it's hard. It's hard to do that. But you can. And you can make these things better. You can make yourself better. The study found traumatic life events such as abuse or childhood bullying were the biggest cause of anxiety and depression when dwelled upon. This is followed by family history, income, and education. Next comes relationship status and social inclusion. But these didn't merely cause depression and anxiety, he says. The most important way in which these things led to depression and anxiety was by leading a person to ruminate and blame themselves for the problem. This shows how psychological issues are part of the routes to the development of problems, not merely that people become ill and then show changes in their psychologies. Yes, this is a great article. It's 7 years old, but this is why I'm reading it, because it's spot on. They are treating this like a complex web of factors, and that's what life is. That's what all of this is. Everything's interconnected. Everything plays a role. Everything has a purpose. There's always a black and white. There's always a light and a dark. There's always a yes and there's always a no. There's always love and there's always hate. The world is in balance. The problem happens when your life gets out of balance, right? And you need to recognize all of the areas in your life that are essential, all of the areas that are important to you, right? I always say you need to have financial security. You need to be stable, have a good job. You need to have some sort of purpose, some sort of overarching set of goals and principles that you are striving to move towards. You need to have healthy social relationships. You need to have a healthy body, and you need to control your mind and have a healthy mindset and healthy thoughts. All of these things are important. They break down even further into things like nutrition, sleep quality, education, self-development time, meditation, right? There's a whole field of study that doesn't exist, that needs to, that I'm trying to create about balancing your life. When you get out of balance, that's when problems start arising, right? Maybe your body was injured. Maybe you had a brain injury, right? That your physical health is out of balance. That's going to cause disease, right? If you start thinking negatively, if you get caught in a trap where you're really stressed and you're anxious and you're in a situation you don't want to be in, maybe you went to college and you don't want to be there and you're studying something that you hate, that's going to build up over time and you're going to cause mental stress, mental damage, right? And that's going to cause anxiety. It's going to cause depression. The key to a good life is balancing all of these areas. balance. And this article is recognizing the nuance, right? Not as deeply as I'm going into right now, but that's okay. But this article is recognizing the nuance. That's why I like it. Rumination was found to be more damaging than self-blame. Having thoughts stuck on replay in her head is something Teresa, 50, from Essex, struggles with and has done for years. When I don't feel on top of things in my life, I start to find it harder to switch negative thoughts off. Absolutely. That's what anxiety is supposed to do. Anxiety is there to tell you when you're in danger, when something is wrong with your life. The first step to getting rid of anxiety is listening to it. What's it trying to tell you? If I'm stressed at work or home, it's as if the negative thoughts swamp my mind and I can't rationalize them. You can't, because when you're anxious, you go into fight or flight mode, right? All the blood sugar goes to your heart rate increases, you get ready to move. You don't get as much blood flow up to your brain. That's why you can't think critically when you're anxious, because your body is preparing you for fight or flight. That's what happens. Teresa's been married for over 20 years and has 2 children, but despite having a happy home life, she says there have still been times when the negative thoughts become overwhelming. Absolutely. There have been a couple points in my life when I have really struggled to cope. Negative thoughts and things from the past came back to haunt me. Both times I went to my doctor for help but was offered antidepressants. I didn't want to go down that road. I've tried to develop my own coping mechanisms over the year. I find being outside and with nature helps me a lot. There's a lot of research on that. It's true. Get outside. It seems to calm what's in my head. Rumination is sometimes referred to as a silent mental health problem because its impact is often underestimated, but it plays a big part in anything from obsessive-compulsive disorder to eating disorders. I think our minds are our greatest enemy. Rule number 1, your mind is your greatest enemy until you make it your strongest ally. Will always be true. Always. No one can say anything to you or do anything to you unless your mind allows you to interpret it negatively. Now, granted, there are limits, right? There's only so much humans can control. But think about what I just said, because on paper, it's true. No one can hurt you unless you let them hurt you up here. The impact of mental health problems is huge. They affect 1 person in every 4 during their lifetime and are the leading cause of disability globally, according to the World Health Organization. In 2010 alone, they are estimated to have cost $2.5 trillion globally. In the UK, 1 in 4 people will experience some kind of mental health problem in any one year. According to Mental Health Foundation, anxiety and depression are the most common problems. So what does the new study mean for people who have serious problems with ruminating and those treating them? Obviously, it is just one study, and other people will have other important contributions, but we believe our findings are very significant, says Kinderman. It's important to get across what the findings mean for the average person, says Dr. Ellie Ponton, a clinical psychologist and research associate at the University of Liverpool, who was also involved in the study. It's actually a really positive message and should give people hope. Absolutely it should. There's always hope. If you're struggling with rumination, if you're depressed or anxious or have ADHD or bipolar, if you've got stuff going on up here, there is hope. Don't give up. Life is long, okay? We can live a long time. We can live to be 100, right? We might if we take good care of ourselves. You've got time to figure this out. Do not be hard on yourself. Do not ruminate on things you've messed up in the past. Do not destroy yourself on a daily basis in the name of self-improvement, right? A lot of self-improvement culture is toxic. I would know. I specialize in self-improvement. It's all I do. I'm obsessed with it. I follow a lot of these people, and it's toxic. People are awful to themselves. So ask yourself that question, are you being awful to yourself? Take a moment to just breathe, because there are answers. They're out there. You just have to find them. It can be very hard to be told your problems are because of what you have experienced in the past or your genetics, things you can't change. But the way you think and deal with things can be changed. She gets it. Other professionals agree. They argue that such studies highlight the need to put psychological services at the heart of the health system. Absolutely. This is a positive message, says Angela Clow, professor of psychophysiology at the University of Westminster. And helping someone tackle negative thought processes is not something that has to be done exclusively by clinical psychologists. I can help you do that. Other health professionals can be trained to deliver simple psychological help and techniques. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It doesn't. I'm a strength coach and a personal trainer. I do life coaching stuff and business coaching. So I've studied a lot of coaching, right? I make a living by teaching people how to get better at doing things. I'm a tennis coach. I've worked with hundreds of high school students now. People are mostly the same, right? We have the same drive to find fulfillment. We have the same needs. Most of us have brains that operate in pretty much the same way. We grow in the same way. We learn in the same way. There are ways to change your negative thoughts. There are ways to change your life that you can find, that you can use. Life is difficult, okay? It's not always fair. I feel like a lot of people today have lost sight of that. They've lost sight of the fact that life wasn't always this good, right? And it might not get any better than this. We might not be able to live forever. We might not be able to get rid of the worser parts of human nature. We might not be able to eradicate evil. But we can look for balance, and we can play our part, and we can make ourselves better, which in turn inspires other people to make themselves better, which in turn makes the world better. It all starts with you. It starts with your thoughts. Everything starts with your thoughts. Beethoven could not have written all of his symphonies if he didn't have the thought, if he didn't have the belief that he could do it. And the same goes for everything great that's ever been done by people. It all started with their mindset. I am technically a health professional, right? I'm a CSCS, personal trainer, fitness coach. So I'm what's called an allied health professional in the United States. But I can help you do this. And if you want help retraining your brain and getting rid of negative thoughts, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment down below. There's an email in the description, and you can send me emails with questions that you have about your life, right? Health, fitness, wealth, relationships. I have a series called Ask Coach Andrew, and if you send me enough details, I will answer your question in a video and post it up here so that it can help you, it can help other people. Let me know what's going on. Tell me about it, and I'm here to help you guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share this video with someone who could use it, someone who needs this information. And that's all I got for you guys today. So you know I love you. Have a great day, and we will talk in the next video. Take care.